how close you were to him and how much of an inspiration. You're kind of like, this is why you do what you do, because of your dad, right?
Totally.
Everyone thought Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman had the perfect Hollywood love story. Glamorous red carpets, picture-perfect family moments, and careers most people can only dream of. But the truth? It's darker and far more complicated than anyone imagined. What fans saw was just the surface. Beneath that glossy image was addiction, scandal, painful secrets, and a marriage built not just on love, but survival. Stick around, because what you're about to learn will change how you see them forever. The dream couple that hid a nightmare. When people think of celebrity couples, one name almost always comes to mind: Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. For years, they've been celebrated as the ultimate power couple. Glamorous, successful, and seemingly flawless, from walking the red carpets of Hollywood to raising their children away from the paparazzi's glare, their relationship looked like a storybook romance. Fans admired their love story, believing that behind the smiles were two people living a perfect life. But what the world didn't see was the reality lurking beneath their public appearances. Behind every photo and every interview, a different story was unfolding. Keith Urban, the country music superstar with millions of fans, was silently battling personal challenges that few could imagine. While Nicole stood proudly by his side, she was fighting her own unseen battle, trying to save the man she loved from losing himself. It wasn't long after their wedding that Nicole discovered just how deep Keith's personal struggles ran. Barely 4 months into their marriage, their happy image cracked. Fans were clueless. Tabloids speculated about disagreements or career conflicts, but the truth? It was something far more serious and heartbreaking. What Nicole Kidman was forced to do behind closed doors shocked even those closest to them. And when Keith himself finally opened up about it years later, the public's perception of their entire relationship changed forever. This wasn't the perfect love story people believed in. It was a survival story, and Nicole's role in saving Keith Urban's life would become one of the most powerful and untold parts of their journey. Keith Urban's hidden addiction battle.
3 months. 4 months into a marriage, I'm in rehab for 3 months.
Long before Keith Urban became a household name in America, long before he won awards and sold out tours, he was fighting a silent war within himself. While fans saw the charming country star who could light up a stage, few knew the painful truth he was carrying behind the scenes. Keith's struggles with substances began early in his career as he navigated the pressures of fame, the isolation of constant touring, and the weight of expectations from both the music industry and himself. In the late 1990s, just as his career was taking off, Keith reached a breaking point. In 1998, he quietly entered a treatment center, hoping to conquer the problem once and for all. But recovery, as Keith later admitted, wasn't a simple journey. His career skyrocketed in the years that followed, chart-topping singles, platinum albums, and countless awards. But his personal struggles followed him like a shadow. By the time Keith met and married Nicole Kidman in 2006, his fame had never been higher, but neither had his struggles. Just 4 months after their wedding, the situation became impossible to ignore. Keith himself later revealed that his life was spiraling out of control. He couldn't keep hiding the truth, not from Nicole, and not from himself.
4 Grammys, my goodness. He's one of the most successful country artists. Everyone, please welcome back to the show, Keith Urban!
What shocked fans even more was how close Keith came to losing everything. He later confessed that without immediate help, his future would have looked very different. The glamorous image of Keith Urban was a mask, hiding years of personal pain. Nicole, realizing the gravity of the situation, was left with no choice but to intervene. What followed would not only test their marriage, but also define it. Keith's story wasn't just about music and fame, it was about survival, and at its heart was a woman who refused to let him fall. Nicole Kidman's secret intervention. Nicole Kidman had just begun her new life as Keith Urban's wife when everything changed. 4 months after their wedding, she discovered the painful truth her husband had been hiding. His struggle with addiction was far worse than she realized. But instead of walking away, Nicole made a bold, life-changing choice. In a moment Keith later described as a spiritual awakening, Nicole staged a private intervention. It wasn't for publicity or image control, it was a personal act of love. She confronted Keith not as a celebrity, but as a wife determined to save her husband from self-destruction. Keith admitted he left Nicole no choice. His life was slipping away, and she refused to stand by and watch it happen. Fans had no idea. While tabloids guessed about their marriage falling apart, Nicole was fighting a silent battle behind closed doors. Her strength and loyalty during this dark chapter redefined their relationship, creating a bond not built on fame, but on survival and trust. The marriage that shocked Hollywood.
Over 3 decades of hits, Keith Urban is a rolled gold international superstar.
When Keith Urban checked into rehab just months after his wedding, Hollywood headlines predicted disaster. Rumors of divorce and breakdown spread like wildfire. But what really happened shocked everyone. Instead of leaving, Nicole Kidman stayed. She stood outside that rehab center, not as a movie star, but as a wife fighting for her husband. While the world gossiped, she chose silence and support. Years later, Keith would reveal that Nicole's decision to stay and support him wasn't just loving, it was life-saving. Their marriage, rather than crumbling under the weight of public pressure, grew stronger. Nicole's unwavering loyalty became the foundation of their relationship. While many believed their story would end in failure, they proved everyone wrong. What looked like a glamorous Hollywood romance was actually something far more powerful. A partnership built on resilience, healing, and the quiet strength of love. The career that almost didn't happen. While Keith Urban was topping music charts and winning awards, very few fans knew just how close he came to losing everything. Behind his success, addiction was threatening not just his career, but his life. Even as his albums went platinum and his concerts sold out worldwide, Keith was silently struggling. It was Nicole Kidman's intervention that helped him turn things around, but recovery wasn't instant.
Even in the early days, as Keith battled drug and alcohol addiction, their bond never wavered.
Keith continued to battle temptations as he worked on rebuilding both his life and his career. He kept releasing music, but now with a new focus, not just for his fans, but for himself and his family. From coaching young singers on The Voice Australia to serving as a judge on American Idol, Keith found new purpose in mentoring others, even as he fought to keep himself grounded. He often credited Nicole for standing by him through it all. Without her, he admitted, none of it would have been possible. His story was no longer just about hit songs, it was about survival, redemption, and the quiet fight to stay standing when no one else could see the battle. Segment 6, Nicole Kidman's private pain.
Like so many of us, he was stranded at home this spring with the quarantine, and he had a tough time getting used to life as a traveling musician with no place to go.
While Keith was fighting his personal battles, Nicole Kidman faced her own hidden struggles. Years before meeting Keith, her world was shattered by a painful divorce from Tom Cruise. A split so sudden, Nicole later admitted she never saw it coming. The whispers of Scientology's role in their breakup only fueled public speculation. What made it worse? Nicole's bond with her adopted children, Isabella and Connor, seemed to fade after the divorce. Tabloids speculated endlessly, painting her as distant, but Nicole, known for her grace, rarely responded. When she married Keith, she sought something different, a relationship built on honesty and healing. But instead, she found herself helping Keith fight for his life. In the early days of their marriage, Nicole wasn't just a wife. She became Keith's greatest source of strength. Behind every red carpet smile, Nicole was carrying the weight of public judgment and private heartbreak. Yet she never let the world see her pain. Her focus remained on her family, her children, and the man she refused to give up on. Fame, scandals, and tabloid attacks, even as Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman worked to protect their marriage from personal struggles, the outside world refused to let them live in peace. The paparazzi followed their every move. Tabloids created wild stories, predicting their divorce, speculating about Nicole's health, and questioning Keith's sobriety. Every public appearance was analyzed. Every silence was turned into a headline. In 2012, the pressure boiled over. While walking through Los Angeles, Keith and Nicole were surrounded by aggressive photographers. The encounter reignited debates about celebrity privacy. The couple, who valued their private life, now found themselves under constant surveillance. Keith once said that living in the public eye felt like being trapped in a fishbowl. Nicole agreed, calling the media attention around their family relentless. But despite the endless noise, they stood strong. They never let outsiders control their narrative. For Keith and Nicole, survival wasn't just about personal battles, it was about protecting their life from public chaos. And every attack only strengthened their bond. Keith Urban's shocking confession about fatherhood. Just when life seemed to settle, everything changed for Keith Urban once again, this time in the best way possible. In 2008, Nicole gave birth to their first daughter, Sunday Rose. 2 years later, their second daughter, Faith Margaret, was born via surrogate. Suddenly, Keith wasn't just a musician or a husband, he was a father. In interviews, Keith admitted fatherhood transformed him. He said it gave him a reason to wake up every morning and stay sober. He credited Nicole not only for saving his life, but for giving him the chance to experience life in a way he never thought possible. Nicole, too, found peace in family life. After years of public heartbreak and endless rumors, motherhood brought her a sense of grounding. She often described their home as her sanctuary, far removed from Hollywood chaos. Their daughters didn't just strengthen their relationship, they saved it. Parenthood gave them a shared purpose, and for Keith, it became proof that even after years of struggle, new beginnings were possible. Criticism, accusations, and Keith's fight to stay relevant. As Keith Urban's personal life stabilized, his professional life faced a new kind of challenge. Longtime country music fans began to question his changing sound. Albums like Ripcord and Graffiti U saw Keith experimenting with pop, R&B, and electronic influences. Some critics accused him of abandoning country music traditions. Others accused him of chasing trends to stay relevant, but Keith never apologized. In interviews, he explained that music, like life, had to evolve. He insisted that every song he wrote reflected where he was emotionally at that moment. For him, authenticity wasn't about sticking to old formulas. It was about embracing change. And then came the performance rumors. In 2017, some fans began accusing Keith of lip-syncing during concerts after videos showed seemingly perfect vocals. The accusations spread fast, but Keith refused to respond. Instead, he focused on what mattered most, his connection with fans. His followers stood by him, valuing his energy, emotion, and presence over speculation. Through it all, Keith stayed true to himself, proving that growth wasn't betrayal, it was survival. At first glance, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman seemed like any other celebrity couple. Successful, stylish, and endlessly admired. But their real story, it's one of Hollywood's greatest hidden battles. Their marriage wasn't built on fame, it was forged in moments of fear, recovery, loyalty, and love. Nicole Kidman didn't just marry a star, she saved a life. And Keith Urban didn't just fight addiction, he rebuilt himself piece by piece with Nicole by his side. From red carpets to rehab centers, from tabloid attacks to quiet family moments, this couple proved that real love isn't about perfection. It's about standing together when the world expects you to fall apart. If their story surprised you, hit that like button, subscribe for more celebrity deep dives, and share this video with someone who believes in second chances. Tell us in the comments, did you ever imagine their love story was this intense? Their public smiles may hide the pain, but now you know the truth.